And to talk more about that, we have UE Political Science Professor Eric De Torres now joining us via Zoom. Sir, magandang umaga and thank you for joining us this morning.
Magandang umaga po, Sir Ed.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for
Sir, before I go into the surveys, let me ask you something that's kind of sticking out. I know we have one one week left before Election Day. It's exactly a week from now. So, ito na naman tayo. But anyway, we've had this, we've had this unusual case where you have two people who were originally with the administration, ngayon parang tila namamangka sa dalawang ilog. At least si Amy hindi na kasi mukhang si Amy talaga bumukod na eh. But at least at the outset or at the onset pala, at the onset, these were identified with the administration. I'm wondering anong tingin niyo doon sa naging epekto ng kanilang pagtawid ng ilog, kumbaga. Mula sa admin, ngayon kung hindi tuluyang sumampa doon sa kabilang ilog, nandun pa rin sa pagitan. How is that working for them from what you can see?
Well, ito yung talagang testimony talaga kung saan, number one, makikita natin kung magkakaroon ba talaga ng weight yung political capital ni VP Sara. Kasi kung matatandaan natin, talagang may ad na lumabas for Senator
Yes.
Amy at saka of course kay Assistant Majority Floor Leader Camille Villar. So, ito yung test case at makikita natin kung magkakaroon ba talaga ng weight yung endorsement at saka gaano kataas yung endorsement capacity ni VP Sara. Of course, nakita natin yung ginawa ni Senator Amy at saka ni Congressman Villar is, of course, nakikita natin medyo masikip kung titignan natin yung pinaka latest survey ng Okta Research.
Yes,
na medyo dikit yung nandoon sa 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So ito ay itong last week na to is going to be very crucial for all the candidates. Secondly, nag-aabang or nag-aantay na rin din yung mga kandidato. Yung ibang mga local ay naipatawag na. So nag-aabang na lalo na from the national candidates yung endorsement ng malaking of course religious organization for that matter.
Sir, when you say endorsement ng isang religious organization, what are you referring to? Or should I venture a guess?
Well, of course, your guess is as good as mine. So, inaantay na rin din kung sino yung i-endorse ng iglesia. So, that has also an impact in terms of looking at the manner by which this organization, a religious organization, basically vote. So it would be very helpful because ito yung inaasahang base votes ng mga kandidato, so to speak.
So what you're saying is that that could be a swing vote in a very, very tight race, especially dun sa bottom four, that might make a difference.
Yes, definitely it will make a difference. But of course, you have to also be ready kung sakali mang hindi madala or hindi maisama dun sa listahan nila. Ang pinakamalaking tanong bilang kandidato saan ka kukuha ng boto lalo na kung ilang libo na meron silang membro, saan ka kukuha ng pang-augment or pang-tapal doon sa mawawalang base vote sa iyo.
Sir, kung ilabas po natin yung elementong yan, because anyway, that is going to be, if at all, a command vote. Yung sabihin, wala ka na magagawa kung kung inutos, wala ka na magagawa iba. Pero yung, kumbaga, kung naghahabol ka doon sa bottom 4, or sabihin nga, bottom 5, and you have 1 week to go, what else can you do to swing votes or convince voters may magagawa ka pa ba? Or is it ground war na lang talaga? When I say ground war, ito yung makinarya may magagawa ka pa ba to change minds maliban dun sa operations dun sa baba kung saan may ground war na?
Well, kung mapapansin natin, yung ibang mga kandidato in terms of their ad, medyo nag-adjust na sila. Mas specific kasi mas pinapakita na nila yung kanilang programa. Kung mapapansin natin, nagbago yung ad ni Senator Bong. Mas pinapakita niya na yung mga legislative agenda at saka yung accomplishments niya. Pero of course, pasok na siya doon sa Magic 12. Doon sa iba, makikita natin si senatorial aspirant Benhar Abalos, nag-adjust din siya at pinapakita niya yung accomplishments niya sa Mandaluyong. Meron pa in terms of aerial or yung media approach in terms of calibration, but at the end of the day, I would agree with you, sir, na talagang ground war na or yung operations na sa baba ang mahalaga dito.
Well, yun nga lang, operations parang doesn't sound very good.
Sabihin natin na yung makinarya na kung paano
Makinarya,
sila
okay.
kilos. Yun, opo. Mas politically correct term kung paano po sila kikilos. And makikita natin, mahalaga, Ed, na makita natin yung voting block and strategically pinpointing yung mga malalaking voting block na nagbibigay ng pwedeng malaking boto. At ito yung manggagaling primarily sa Visayas at saka sa Mindanao. Lagi kong binibigyan ng emphasis na malaki ang naging epekto nung pagkakaaresto
Mhm.
ni former President Rodrigo Duterte, since alam natin na baluarte ang mga mabibigat na lugar na nagbibigay ng voting block, especially sa Visayas at saka sa Mindanao. So ang pinakamalaking tanong is paano yung makinarya ng mga nasa 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 na masusuyo ang mga lugar na ito, lalo na sa Visayas at saka sa Mindanao.
Mhm. Yun nga sir, we have seen that spike since yung arrest a month or two ago We have seen that spike and we have seen the numbers go up dun sa Duterte block. On the other hand ba, do you think that the spike has been sufficient to bring pro-Duterte candidates into the Magic 12? Kasi although tumaas sila, parang wala masyadong bagong pumasok. If at all, I mean, I'm looking at the Octa survey, if at all, baka si Camille, and even then, hindi naman siya ganun kaingay at least for now, as far as the Duterte issue is concerned. The rest, yung sa iba sa kanila, dati nang nandun well, except for Bato, who used to play dun sa bandang baba, pero ngayon nasa taas, dun sa Octa survey. Pero the others, mga pro-Duterte candidates, are not in the top 12.
Yeah. Looking at it as such, medyo nakikita natin medyo hindi ganun kalaking improvement, Ed, yung pagdating doon sa ibang mga kandidato ng Duterte. Primarily, makikita natin na ang posible na maaaring makalusot o kung magpapatotoo at mabubuhat ng Visayas at saka ng Mindanao Block ay mga 2 o 3 kandidato na posible, na original na galing ng
Mhm.
Duterte. Pero of course, let's wait and see kasi medyo latter part nung medyo very vocal at talagang yung endorsement ni VP Sara kay Senator Amy at saka kay Camille Villar. So,
Yeah.
medyo makikita natin ito come next week kung talagang may weight yung manner ng pag-endorso sa kanila ng ating Vice President.
And those are, of course, going to be, if at all, 2 votes in favor of the Dutertes, if and when, actually when the impeachment court comes around.
Definitely, Ed.
Sir, last question, sir. Ingay, we were talking about the effect of the Duterte arrest on the numbers dun sa Senate race and potentially on the impeachment. But let me ask you, again, with your political hat on, how could the government have handled this better in terms of not letting the Duterte arrest have any effect on the numbers in the elections? I mean, was it an unavoidable, an unavoidable controversy to begin with, or could they have handled it better?
Well, I think they could have handled it better. It's also unavoidable, but primarily, Ed, it's really the timing. The timing is really not in accordance to the tide basically of their candidates, because after the arrest, kitang-kita mo yung spike ng numbers. Yun nga, yung nakakalungkot is hindi naging issue o usapin ng programa o plataforma ng mga kandidato, pero naging issue ng dalawang pamilya at yung paano legalidad ng pagka-aresto ni former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte and so on and so forth. yung eleksyon ito hindi naging usapin ng plataforma,
Yeah.
programa ng mga tumatakbong kandidato. Nagkaroon din ng shift in terms of sa interest kasi ang naratibo between dun sa nagbabangga ang dalawang pamilya at yung manner or yung paraan ng kung paano pagkakaaresto kay former President Rodrigo Duterte. So, doon makikita natin na talagang nagbago at nag-shift yung diskurso at naratibo nitong eleksyon na ito. So, I hope na sana 1 week to go, mas maging mapanuri at maging mas mapag-obserba ang ating mga kababayan na kung sino yung karapat-dapat nilang iboboto dahil yung kanilang iboboto ay magkakaroon din ng weight at mahalaga ang kanilang partisipasyon sa kung paano magiging gampanin ng mga mahahalal na senador sa impeachment proceeding ni VP Sara at of course yung mga susunod na panahon na malaking hamon sa ating bansa.
Sorry, sir. Ipahabol ako. Alam ko, sinesenyas na ako rito. Pero last question talaga ito. Of course, we do remember na-impeach yung Vice Presidente noong Pebrero pa. And the decision was made by the Senate leadership to defer the impeachment trial until mag-resume ang session, ang regular session in June, at least as far as yung drafting of the rules are concerned. But the actual trial might take place, for all you know, baka after pa ng SONA. So in other words, na-defer siya ng what? 4+ months. Would it have made a difference if the trial was conducted immediately? For example, March or April, sinimula na yung trial ng impeachment ni VP Sara. Do you think the numbers would have looked different? Do you think the outcome could possibly have been different?
Well, of course, we can only second guess what might happen. But for me personally, it's a double whammy on the part of the administration should they pursue. Mapapansin at maobserbahan na kung saan talagang politika at the sympathy could be a factor by which magkaroon or mas dumami pa yung mga galing sa Duterte slate na mga kandidato. So ako tingin ko maganda yung pagpapaliban in a way because it neutralizes or it somehow diffuse the tension within the politics of the country, and more importantly at least take time to breathe and to make people be more rational kasi nakita natin at napansin natin sa loob ng 2-3 linggo medyo grabe yung emosyon ng taong bayan dun sa nangyari. So ang pagpapaliban ay tingin ko malaking tulong na kung saan mas nag-step back tayo, palamigin ang sitwasyon at mas makapag-isip ng mabuti.
Okay, maraming salamat, UE Political Science Professor Eric De Torres. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Bilang